tutorial on improvising blues on the mandolin, but could apply to anything. Basically, I think it's common. If you look at improvising blues, you'll run across pentatonic scales, which are nothing more than 5-tone scales. And generally, there's many different types, but as far as blues playing and most of other types of Western music, it's usually just a minor pentatonic and a major pentatonic. And the minor pentatonic is, if I relate it to scale tones in a major scale. By the way, we're in D here. So it's the first note, D, and then a flatted third, then the fourth note, then the fifth note, then a flatted 7, and then back to 1 again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it starts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so on. And that's a minor pentatonic in D. The major pentatonic is, as far as scale tones go, based off a diatonic scale. It's the first note of the scale, the second note, the third note, the fifth note, the sixth note, and the first note again. So there again, there's your 5 tones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one, if you play it in the correct rhythm, it sounds like My Girl from the Temptations. That's one way you can define the scale, actually. Now there's another note that you can add, and some people call it the blues note, or they define this one as being a blues scale as opposed to a minor or major pentatonic. The note we're adding to the minor pentatonic is a flat 5, and that just means it's the fifth note of a major scale, but flatted, lowered 1 fret. So it's this note. So there's 1 flat third, there's your fifth, there's your flat 5. Now that's a little jarring, but it's rarely ever just hit square and held. It's usually played either ascending or descending. So there, it doesn't sound too bad. It's sort of a chromatic. So then it works out pretty good. In the major pentatonic, the note that we're adding there, you can also add a note there, and that would be a flatted third. So, which is actually part of the minor pentatonic, but again, it's usually played on the way to the next note or on the way to the note below it, or down. That's kind of how it's worked, how it works. Now, so using these in blues format, these are all the key of D, by the way. Depends on how you want the blues to sound as to which scale you might use. I think the really good players, blues players, and this is just in general, not in the mandolin, but the really good blues players will sort of subtly go back and forth between the two, and maybe even hybrid some of the scales to where you might add the fourth note in the major pentatonic, and which is part of the minor, but you could add that in the major. So the really good players sort of subtly shift back and forth. If you want a template against the 1 chord, you might use the major pentatonic in D, and against the 4 chord, you might switch to the minor pentatonic in D. And the 5 chord, Since it's usually only one measure, I think that's up to you. It could be either way, but that's at least gets you a start. I'll just finish this with I'll just improvise a little blues in D, and I'm going to use the template that I talked about. So a major pentatonic against the 1, the minor pentatonic against the 4, and against the 5 we'll just see what happens. Do another one. By the way, if you emailed me at vanhanson@neb.rr.com, I will send you in tab a printout of what I just talked about. Thank you.